Sure. Just walk right into the unknown, why don't you? It's just a kid laughing. Nothing scary about that.
Oh, come on, honey. I want to drink this tea while it's
It
still
actually
hot.
isn't.
Mom, did you know that Rebecca from the grocery store has seen a will-o-wisp?
Has she?
Have you ever seen one?
No. Cheese or haddock sandwich?
Cheese, please. Just maybe Daddy's turn into one. A will-o-wisp, I mean.
Now you know that's not true. Daddy left. I know it's hard, but we have to accept it.
Just maybe is all. I asked Miss Jessup about will-o-wisps, but she said they're poppycock. She said there are no such things as ghosts who drift along the marshes. And the sooner I let go of such romantic notions, the better.
Oh, well, she might be right about that one.
Riley, what was that? Did you do that?
I'm
Me?
not sure.
I don't think so.
Was it real?
I saw them too, if that's what you mean.
Doesn't change a thing.
Who are they?
I remember the little girl, Pixie,
Pixie.
Oh, Pixie.
always running around the islands looking for adventures, discovering new clues to grand mysteries. Her words, not mine.
Uh-huh. When was this? He doesn't know. Of course not. Wait, hang on. Pixie must have lived back in the 1800s because that little girl, Hannah, wrote to her.
Did you see that little girl?
I did.
Daddy left.
Daddy left. Those words must haunt.
I wish my dad had left.
Why?
Why?
Because he was a horrible person that made my life a living hell.
That's a good reason.
Yours?
Same bullshit, I'm afraid.
Am I wrong, or did Pixie and her mother have an American accent? Because we're in a part of the world where people are speaking British English. At least the ghost is, and so are we. Sacred. In memory of those islanders who died from the fever during the epidemic. 1832.
There was an epidemic.
The fever. That's what killed Ethel's entire family.
Must have been a nightmare.
So, Pixies, was that ghosts or just a memory? And I don't think it was my memory. I think it's Josh's memories.
A graveyard? This is great. We can figure out names and dates.
This is not great. It's a bunch of dead people thrown together.
Riley, have a little respect.
Yeah. Father Thomas.
I didn't mean it like that.
Let's just take a look.
Sometimes Riley sounds like a 14-year-old. A defiant one at that.
Nora Crown.
Doesn't that sound vaguely familiar to you?
Yeah?
It does. Her name was in that newspaper article we found back at the school.
You know her. Right? And Cordelia.
Cordelia Crown. Mm-hmm. We know all about her.
Nora died in 1855. Cordelia in 33. And this one too.
Callum Compton.
Look at the date. 18th of June, 1833.
Same as Cordelia Crown. You think there's a connection?
It's possible.
Beloved uncle to who? Pixie? Louis Scruff.
Died in 1944. That's late.
100 years later. Couldn't have been many people on this island then. There's still a lot of room in this cemetery. Beatrice Parker.
Look, it's Beatrice Parker. She died.
Of
Of
course.
she did. She lived 2 centuries ago.
Still, it makes me sad.
Why? We don't even know her. But, oh well. Shows she's got a bit of empathy in her bones. She was the teacher, right?
I remember Cook. I saw him at a bar somewhere. I think he was behind the counter.
A bartender.
Does he even know what a bartender is?
Softly at night, the stars are shining
Oh.
on you.
Ethel. She lived so much longer than her family. She was so strong. I don't know how she managed.
Archie.
I have left the troubled ocean.
That's dark. Terence Mwambe.
I think he was a cook or something.
Yeah, we know that. You told me. Or maybe there's 2 Terrans? This tiny little church. Aww.
Who's it from?
Pixie.
The little girl?
I guess she grew up.
Yeah. Of course she did. When did she die again? Do we know? No. We didn't see her grave, did we? I need to go back out and have a look. Dearly beloved friends, forever I will remember my mother as a young woman, standing on the edge of the cliffs, her steely gaze set on the sea, watching for my father's return. With great heartache, she had to give up waiting, but she never lost her love for our islands. My family is tied to this place for eternity. You may remember my mother Nora. Oh, hang on, so she's the grandchild of Cornelia? Dearest mother, I hope you have found the peace I know you never found in this life, and I hope you are looking down and smiling upon your beloved islands. I will love you always. Aw, did she die of a heartache? Wait, Pixie was asking about her father being gone. So, did Nora live her entire life waiting for her husband to come back? I may be off, but this sounds like... Could Josh be her father? It would make sense he would be around her, watching her grow up, but he doesn't remember. Should I tell him?
These notes about Cordelia Crown?
What did she do?
To my utter disbelief, Mrs. Cordelia Crown came to me in the dead of night. I was awoken to a loud pounding on my door. There stood Mrs. Crown in quite a state. She demanded I listen to her confession, and would hear nothing of my protestations about the lateness of the hour. The confession I was privy to was nothing short of remarkable. She could no longer carry the burden of the terrible secret, she said. But no gentle lady, as is Mrs. Crown, could ever have been responsible for any wrongdoing, much less the travesties of which she spoke. Alas, I fear she has succumbed to the fevers. I sincerely hope her deliriousness will disappear come morn. Wait, so what did she do? Does she have something to do with Pixie missing her father? That would mean Josh. No wonder he doesn't like her.
I am such a silly goose sometimes. Thought the evil spirit wouldn't follow me into a church. Shut up! Maybe I've seen too many movies. God, if you're listening, this spirit is evil. Hear me? Evil. Yes, I'm talking about you. I hear him all the time. Sometimes I wish I had gone back with the others. At least I could have talked to a psychiatrist or something. Now it's just me and him. Stop!
Josh.
These people you talk about, they've been dead for so long. Why does it matter? I don't understand any of it. I don't care about Cordelia Crown or why she thought she needed to confess. I want a bit of peace in my head. Yes, you gave me Seabrook. But you want me to stay on that beach forever? But why? Yes, I'm listening. Father Thomas, yes. He's the one that taught you to read, I remember. So he was here when it all happened.
Was she talking to you?
Not as far as I know.
Father Thomas.
You think he knew me?
Yeah,
Maybe he taught you how to read.
would make sense.
Beatrice. The headmistress, right?
Right.
In Mass, I must remember to announce the church picnic next week. And most importantly, I must especially remember to announce the opening of the Cordelia Crown Elementary School. I will talk to the organist about arranging for the children to sing a song in Miss Beatrice Parker's honor. Miss Parker has been of such service to our community. To think without Miss Beatrice Parker, so many of our children would be unable to read and write. Now we have our own school, and she can teach them all. Such a blessing. But she didn't. Wait, maybe Hannah died before the school was opened? And Pixie learned from her mother. The school was opened in 1846. And Pixie was a grown-up when this happened. So why is this important? We're supposed to get something from the school starting up. Miss Beatrice Parker. Who is she?
I'm glad we got that over with.
You don't like churches?
Did you go to church?
I did. It made me feel part of something bigger. Everybody was always there. Even Cordelia Crown and her daughter Nora.
Did you talk to her?
Did you ever talk to Cordelia?
Cordelia Crown was not somebody we could just go talk to. She was the boss.
She wasn't the boss of you.
Are you knitting your brows?
What? Why?
What? Why?
I can't tell when you're annoyed. I can't see your eyes.
Can't see yours either. We're even then.
I love this beach. The color of the sand and the sky as a contrast.
When I was little, I spent most evenings in the dark. Literally. When my father turned off the lights, I only had myself to talk to. I whispered to what I believed was my own soul, until I was bold enough to turn the lights back on again.
And you fear you're doing it again? Talking to your own soul?
Maybe?
This just isn't normal.
You could never be normal.
Thanks.
What's that supposed to mean?
It just means you're special, Riley. No reason for a nervous breakdown.
Are you my own soul?
No, I'm just Josh.
I don't know what I would have thought if I suddenly started hearing ghosts speak to me. I mean, at first I wouldn't have to believe there was such a thing as ghosts. Everyone sailing on this ship had their names by their bunks. What's here? A passport?
He was a soldier.
Lewis Doyle.
Was he in... No, this must have been the First World War. Yeah, that makes sense.
He went to war.
The First War.
The horror he must have seen. Is that him?
Probably. Looks like a picture from the First War, so it must be, right?
1913. Harry Douglas Longdon? Why is it still there?
So, you don't know who owned that boat. Is that right?
No, ma'am, I don't.
But we're definitely talking about a military man here. Why did he go to war?
Why does anyone ever?
That's not what I
Sometimes
thought I was
fighting
going to
a war
ask.
saves you from starving to death.
Did you see those names on the wall?
Those were soldiers' names. There was a Joseph that lived here. He went to war, I know that much.
Must have left on that boat then. That skipper took young men to war.
It's Scruff. Of course. It's Scruff.
The
I
man
remember him now.
You do?
at the cemetery.
I even remember his face, his voice, his humming, his tobacco.
So you've been doing this for 200
Why
years?
didn't you come up with this sooner?
Don't be
Talking
a
to
jerk,
people.
Riley.
Or
Just be happy I did.
I am happy. Go on. Tell me about him.
Give it time. More will come.
is this a loop you go through every time
it
you
is
talk to a
again.
new person?
That mirage. Or whatever it is.
You never send them.
They're meant to live here with me, not go out into the world.
Letters are meant to be read.
Maybe, my boy. And then again, maybe letters are just meant to be written. Huh?
I don't understand.
My girls, they're happier without me. No. They have lives, loves. I'm a sad old man who's seen more death than I care to share. And these hands, I killed with them. Can't wash that war away, no matter how many years at sea.
But those hands, they've also healed.
Healing doesn't make up for the taking of a life. There's no return from that.
Why write it all then?
I love my daughters. Think about them all the time. And I suppose I want to remind them and myself of all the good parts. Yeah, there's no sense to it. But it works for me. They have a new family now, and I have you, no? Lord knows you need someone to take care of you. Let's go find a spot for this one, my boy.
What about 3 sisters?
3 sisters. Yes, that works beautifully.
Was that Scruff?
There's no mistake. It is him.
Why didn't I see you?
Math, Riley.
Because you were already dead.
I was dead. And he could hear me.
Yeah, same as Margot. Isn't that obvious to everyone else? Who else did he talk to? I wonder.
He never finished this one. Must have died suddenly.
From a broken heart. Literally. His heart failed. Still, he refused to leave me.
I'm sorry.
Dearest Alice, Emily, and Jane. That's the name of them. Yeah, I'm not reading all of this, but
That's his girls. He missed them so much.
Should have taken his boat and sailed home. I know this picture. It was at that first cabin we found.
Carrie's, yes. That's her.
And that's Scruff.
Thick as thieves, those 2.
good friends, huh? But he looks... Hang on, I need to think.
Carrie was feeding him.
Let's say they fed each other. He'd go fishing or hunting boar.
Scruff was in the First World War, and the last letter we read was from 44.
Do you know who this is?
Archibald O'Sullivan. We called him Archie. A gardener. At the lodge, I think.
He never got to go home again. Since 1918, that's 25
These are
years he was
beautiful
here.
pictures, but why did he put them up here?
He must have found something there.
That picture must have been from when they first became friends, then.
That's not Scruff's handwriting.
Where'd he get these notes? Is this about you?
Because Carrie was like a mother to Margot, so she must also have been older than her picture. It appears I was right, and he's been smuggling contraband into the islands. What's more, it seems he has been doing this in the service of the crowns. Most islanders seem to know this for a fact, and yet don't seem to mind in the least. Even Constable Wilford turns a blind eye. In fact, I've been told I had better quit my inquiries if I want to keep my job as special constable.
Murder? Here on the islands?
Oh my god! Josh! Look! That's your name.
Right, 1819, so he definitely wasn't alive in 1944. Tragedy struck at the Black Bell Tavern late Tuesday night when George Smith was brutally stabbed by an unknown assailant. I don't even remember if we ever saw his name in the graveyard. George was just drinking too much and yelling at someone, and then there was a knife, said Josh. No last name. Callum, who had also been at the scene, added, "The Black Bell may attract some unsavory folk."
Why did he think that place was so important? What happened there?
Callum was in the graveyard. Josh. What was his last name? He's related to someone we've seen at the graveyard, and then it would spoil it for us, right? So who's he
A
related
receipt
to?
for bottles.
That name Compton. We've seen it before.
In the graveyard.
Callum Compton.
If he is the father of Pixie.
Do you see that date?
June 18th?
I'm sure I've seen it before.
Callum was laid to rest next to Cordelia, wasn't he? A beloved uncle? I'm just taking a guess here at Callum being his brother or brother-in-law. Yeah, Callum could have been married to Josh's sister.
26th of September 1939. My sweets, as you've probably heard, war has struck again. We humans never seem to learn from our mistakes. During the First War, I was a medic, and my mission was to save the boys. But there were so many I couldn't help. Sometimes I had to make a choice over who should live and who should die. I essentially killed one to save another. The smell of death, the bodies, the blood, the screams of agony, they never let you go. I wish I could imprint all that upon these young boys who are enlisting. Their lives are never going to be the same. I cannot make them see. Instead, they're filled with excitement for the adventures they believe are ahead. I know no way to help, so I take them. My boat and I deliver them to the front line. My friend Carrie told me the myth of Charon, the ferryman to the river Styx. I feel like I too am delivering these boys to the underworld. All I can offer is a safe passage, but I cannot save them. In these dark days, I don't know if I can save Josh either. My head is a swirl, and I'm no closer to having an answer. That boy is my heart, and I have to help him. I'm so sorry to have written such a grim letter. I only make it through these times knowing you are in the world, your loving father.
Ready or not, he could have ended this.
He didn't have a choice.
No, he didn't. He should have faced his kids, shared his sorrow.
Did Josh's brother get murdered? And then Josh got blamed for it?
I can't shake this feeling that he too was looking for you.
He
Yeah.
was investigating?
Mm-hmm.
My death?
Yep, yep.
I really don't like saying that out loud.
I know.
So you think he was trying to help me?
Yeah, obviously he failed.
Maybe he thought he wouldn't feel so useless then.
What do you know about his daughters?
They were the light of his life.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Riley, if he could have gone back, he would have.
Did he tell you why?
What was stopping him? All he had to do was get on the damn boat.
It was the war. The things he'd seen, he'd had to do. It destroyed him. And he didn't want to burden his girls with what he'd become.
Did he ever think of what they were going through? The rejection. The realization that you're not enough.
Are we still talking about Scruff?
Probably not.
Okay, so you and Scruff talk to each other.
All the time.
And he enjoyed that.
Yes, Riley. He enjoyed talking to me.
I never felt good enough either as a child because...
All those memories you recovered from your time with him.
They're not real memories.
They are. But you were already dead.
I saw my father 3 times before I became an adult. Luckily for me. My mother married a man that became my father. But it still stings a bit, you know? As a kid, I mean.
Is that hair?
Yes. To remember the deceased. Whose journal is this?
Nora.
That's Pixie's mother.
Yeah, the woman from the picnic.
And from the eulogy in the priest's notebook. Remember?
Yes, and I think you knew her very well. How does one begin? We buried Mother and Callum today. A heavy day with more loss than one can hold. And yet the sun continues to shine. Of course, the question of why Callum and my mother were together at the lodge remains. What business did they share? One may never know the truth, but certainly one can ruminate. Mysteries keep the dead from being dead. Did someone see them there? Cordelia was in on the smuggling. The liquor smuggling? Was Callum too? Did they fight over money? Tragic lodge fire, 2 dead. Tuesday's quiet summer night was interrupted by a tragic fire at the lodge. Mrs. Cordelia Crown and Mr. Callum Compton. Constable Sprouse says foul play may be at work, but further investigation is necessary. They appeared to have been together in the upper drawing when the fire erupted. Constable Sprouse refused to say if Mr. Callum Compton's long suspected dealing with the smugglers gang was related to his investigation. So they had a common enemy? It makes sense.
Always, my love.
15th of October, 1819.
That's a clear time frame. Coleridge. How I love his words. This one is the tale of a ship and its crew.
Maybe her husband was a sailor.
Or she just liked Coleridge.
I used to see Nora on that beach. With her daughter, Pixie.
This was their home.
You're awfully quiet.
I'm thinking.
About?
Their life. Their home. But what about Nora's husband? Where is he?
I don't know. Away at sea.
Always.
What?
The words were engraved in her wedding ring. meaningless now. If you say you love someone, you have to mean it.
Why are you taking this personal?
I'm not.
Did she have a... No, she's never been in love, wasn't it? Didn't she say that? She never felt any passion. Maybe she... Oh, here we go again.
I love you, Tig. You know that. You and me, we're both fighters. So you're gonna have to be strong without me. You're gonna have to keep watch. Make sure no one enters this beach without me knowing about it, okay? Might be Daddy. And I might not be here. And I can't miss him. I can't not talk to him, or he might leave again. But if I tell him I love him, if I tell him I'm sorry, then he'll stay. I know he will. Okay, Tig? I'll be back before nightfall, so you're not alone. I know you're scared of the dark.
Aww. That's so typical. Kids think they're to blame for what their parents do or don't do. Especially don't do, I think. What? Didn't I see a letter somewhere? There.
July 1941. My sweet Elfins, today I found a letter from a young girl called Pixie, whose father left the islands many years ago. She's filled with longing and searches for him continuously. How her story broke my heart. Have I caused you, my daughters, such immense sorrow? Am I the cause for tears? I too sailed away and left you behind. Know that leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done. Know that my love for you is the one thing that keeps me strong. There's nothing I can say to make it right. I just hope you forgive me. And in truth, I hope you've forgotten me, so that I do not bring you such sorrow. Your loving father.
I don't believe this guy.
He's a man with regrets.
Unable to fix his mistakes. You like him?
I get him.
We're all incapable of fixing some mistakes, aren't we? Oh. Ah.
It's the tiger toy. Oh, this may be the cutest thing I've ever seen.
It's not that bad.
What was she looking for?
Her father. Yeah, he was gonna just walk out of the sea one day. Poor little Pixie.
Quite the little
Aww.
explorer, wasn't she?
Actually, I read that the developers made their family, the children of their families, make the drawings, which makes this even cuter. I think that no grown-up has made this map. A child sat down and drew it. I love that.
Is this a backpack?
Shoulder bag, used specifically when hiking.
Looks like she did a lot of that.
I'm amazed it's in such good order. Even the
Oh, this is
the
interesting.
notebooks,
She really did picture herself as a true detective.
I'm afraid to touch them. I should be. Hang on. When I was editing the previous video, I realized that Hannah said to Pixie in the letter that she was gonna be a teacher too. I'm going out on a limb here and wondering, could Pixie have been the teacher? Did she have another name? Who would grow up to be a teacher and call themselves Pixie, right? Could she have been a teacher? And if so, the thing is, the game has sort of hinted, because we're not supposed to like Cordelia, and Riley immediately didn't like her name, but Beatrice Parker, Riley immediately liked her name, so we're supposed to like her. Could she be Pixie? Her father loved the islands. He doesn't know why he left. He also says my uncle knew my father far better than anyone. I don't understand why Uncle Callum won't talk about my father. So Callum was involved in Josh's death, because of course something happened to Josh.
She reminds me of you.
She's nothing like me.
Otherwise he wouldn't be on this island as a ghost, right? That's what we've learned about ghosts. They haunt the place they died in, right?
I just don't understand why she kept looking for her dad.
Because she believed in him. Isn't there anything you ever believed in? With your whole heart?
I believed in Santa Claus, and he never came after my mom died.
It's supposed to sound sad, I get it, but at some point every child learns the truth about Santa. But if she means she never got a present, then that's really sad. Then she had a jerk of a father.
Oh my god, it's her!